Hello, and welcome to Brain Soup, a channel where I talk about whatever may be bubbling away in my silly little brain. If you're new here, hi, I'm Paula. I was diagnosed with ADHD at 39 years old, and I post videos about neurodivergence from the perspective of a late diagnosed adult. If that sounds interesting to you, stick around. And if you're feeling extra kind, please go ahead and do all those content engagement things that make the YouTube algorithm happy. A couple videos ago, I described hyperfocus as like moving around a flatbed warehouse cart full of bulky, heavy goods. You can move an astonishing amount in a short period of time, but it's hard to steer. To expand that analogy a little, whatever is on your cart is in unlabeled containers that all look the same. Could be the project that's due in a couple days. Could be reading an 800,000 word fan fiction in a day and a half. Who knows? But did you know that it's possible sometimes to be selective about what you're steering around in the warehouse of your mind? That's harnessing hyperfocus. And it's the reason why many people with ADHD describe it as having a superpower. To understand what that feels like, let's expand that analogy a little bit further. A spontaneous hyperfocus section would be someone shopping at their favorite store at their own leisure with no schedule to keep and no budget cap. Harnessed hyperfocus is more like an exhausted single parent at an overcrowded Costco, trying to stick to their tightly budgeted shopping list while their three hyper little kids are begging for treats constantly, trying to sneak whatever they want onto the cart regardless, trying to play tag in the aisles, and trying to finish all that up in time to get those rambunctious little goblins to four different extracurriculars on time. It's doable. It's just a lot harder. Funnily enough, I'm having to do that right now as I'm making this video. Not to write the script. No, I'm doing that during breaks from the actual thing. But I have a big deadline for some deliverables at work. So here I am. As I said in my impulsive random nature walk the other day, I promise I picked this topic before I found myself in this situation. But it's actually pretty good timing because I haven't really needed to do this in a while, at least not to this extent. So it's giving me a good little refresher on how I do this. How fun! I'm filming this on the last dregs of energy I have after finishing up my actual task earlier than I expected. I guess we'll see how far into the aftermath I'll be once I finish editing. So, what's my strategy here? What works for me might not work for everyone, of course, but maybe if I share my experiences, it might help some of you watching. So here we go. Take or leave whatever you want. First off, I need to have a real sense that the task at hand is both urgent and important. This might be triggered by an external source, like this deadline I have at work, or, ooh, suddenly we're going to have some guests coming over. If the task doesn't come pre-built with its own urgency, sometimes I can do a little bit of mental gymnastics to kind of force myself into having that feeling. Next, I need to break that task down into smaller pieces. Like with the urgency, this could be easier or harder depending on what it is that I need to do. For my current situation, I'm writing up some process narratives, and the process diagrams are already done, so it's easy enough to break things down into each activity in the diagram. For household chores that have kind of faded into background noise until I've stopped noticing that they need to get done, and then, ooh, company's coming. Ha! That panic cleaning mountain is pretty daunting, but sometimes I can kind of step back and pretend to be visiting somebody else's house. And somehow that lets me notice the things that I had stopped seeing around the house. And I can now prioritize what I need to get done based on what I noticed first. Other times, whatever it is can just feel still too big. For things like that, something like the website goblin.tools can come in really handy. You type in whatever I need to do, and it'll break that down into smaller tasks that feel a lot more manageable. Next, I have to set myself up in a way that helps get and keep me in a groove. That could be getting someone to take my daughter for a play date or a sleepover, like I did this weekend. Or it could be booking a meeting room at the office so that I'm not out in the open while I'm trying to work. Another thing that I find super helpful is putting on some music that helps set the vibe for what I'm needing to do. Finally, I need to plan for breaks. In a spontaneous hyperfocus session, a mountain of a task can be conquered before even noticing that any time has passed or that I need to eat and drink and use the bathroom and go to sleep. Using a new analogy, I'm an entire dog sled unit. I'm pulling all the weight, I'm piloting the sled. I'm also kicking back in a passenger seat, just cozy in a blanket and enjoying the scenery. Because a directed hyperfocus session doesn't feel natural and it's a lot harder, it's more like I'm still the pilot for the sled, but it's being pulled by an army of feral squirrels, and the passenger is the dog from the "This is fine" meme. The squirrels need to be let off the leash every once in a while, or they will stage a mutiny, set the sled on fire, and run off into the woods to live forever with the pixies. So yeah, breaks, take them. Yeah, I have to go to bed and start recovering from what I've put myself through this weekend. So that's where I'm going to leave it for today. My next video will probably be about the inevitable crash that is going to hit me any moment now. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover in another video, please make your suggestions in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Bye.